हेलो एंड वेलकम बैक टू अरोरा's कैनवस। अभी तक के मिले प्यार और दुलार के लिए बहुत प्यार भरा सत श्री अकाल। I am connected today to talk about the most devastating emotion, which is contempt. We are here to discuss the granddaddy of all destructive emotions. Now, if I define contempt, it is treating somebody of no value or treating them worthless. Now, it is actually very different from anger. Usually, people confuse these two emotions. However, both of them are extremely different. Whereas anger says, I care about it, let's solve it. The contempt emotion says that you as a person are beneath even caring about. Now, the signs of contempt are very simple: sarcasm, hostile humor, even rolling the eyes. If I share an example, have you ever heard somebody saying, hey, stop talking, अबे चल बात मत कर? These kind of behaviors are actually treating a person with contempt. That means treating somebody of no value, totally worthless. Now, how does contempt affect our lives? For example, if I try to treat somebody with contempt, contempt leads to depression. Contempt leads to sleeplessness. Contempt leads to loss of immunity. Isn't it scary? How does it do that? Well, I'll tell you how it is. When somebody is treated with no value, we as a person have made a mind that this person has no value. So every time this person makes an attainment, we are destined to get jealous of it. We've talked about jealousy in another video. You can go back and refer to it. Then secondly, we go back and then that person becomes successful. This success is destined to make the person who has treated this person with contempt, that means a person of no value, this person is definitely going under depression. Now, contempt works in very different ways. What are these specific examples? Majorly, contempt affects our work life and our personal life, both in different ways. In our work life, have you ever seen somebody who behaves like Mr. Know-it-all? I don't need anybody's advice. You guys do not know how to work. I am the only person. If you practice this attitude of contempt and treat every other employee worthless, dealing with them with hostile humor, dealing with them with sarcasm, dealing with them with rolling eyes, not paying attention to them, treating them worthless, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you are making a huge pitfall for yourself where you're going to fall. Because in this attitude, one single mistake that you make and you will become an instrument of insult for the entire workplace. Now, let's move on to the second big example. In relationships, contempt is the most toxic emotion that can exist. And I'm really sad to say, unfortunately, this is the most common emotion that comes out of relationships. This is the emotion that is a huge reason for the divorce rate. Now, what happens is, if there is a large amount of intensity in a relationship, one person shows the other person a huge number of sides of their character, of their personality, of their behavior, which are not usually visible to normal people. Now, what happens is, this other person who knows those sides, because of that knowledge, this person starts to treat the other person as worthless, valueless. If I just define it in single statement, this other person starts taking this person with contempt. They start to treat them valueless. Now, what happens? What is the real problem here? Now, this contempt will affect two people. Now, person number one who has been treated with contempt, this person will definitely go under a huge amount of depression and will be extremely hurt because of this behavior. You know why? Because this one person who is treating them valueless was the one person this person was expecting to be there when the entire world leaves. And this person now today treats you valueless. This emotion will devastate this person. Now, if you think that for the person who's treating this person with contempt, this will be really a joyous feeling, I'm telling you, this person will be more devastated. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. What happens is, because this person is treating this person valueless, they start to punish this person against the privilege they've had for the time that they've spent with them, and they totally get struck into this emotion. Let me tell you, there is only one way to deal with it. If you keep on letting this emotion come onto your head, this person is hurt because of the behavior, and this person because of the feeling of the other person being worthless that they've developed. Now, how to deal with the contempt? Contempt can be dealt in many ways. As a person, if I have the feeling of contempt, I will go pillar to post to make sure that I get rid of it. It's not very easy. This feeling definitely comes in every human being at some point or the other. You start to hate somebody, you start to have problems with somebody, and you start to get these feelings of contempt. Now, I'm going to share 4 different ways to deal with contempt. First is the star rule. Now, let me tell you what the star rule is. It's a very simple rule. For example, draw a star, alright? In the center, you're going to keep a criticism, and on the 5 sides, the 5 sides, you're going to keep 1 compliment each. That means if you have to say 1 critical line, if you have to criticize any human being in the world, say 1 critical thing and say 5 compliments for that person. Only then you're allowed to criticize. Make it a rule that I'm never going to criticize somebody until I say 5 compliments per criticism. Now, moving on to the second way. Defend people behind their back. For example, you don't like a person and there is a group of 5 people including you. The other 4 are bitching about that person. They're saying bad things about that person. Don't join them. Go ahead and defend that person while that person is not present. Trust me, this will completely start to squeeze down the contempt that has been building inside you. Third option is a little it's a sensitive thing. Only try if it is practically possible, because we don't know what scenario was and how much possibility is there of you being able to communicate. If the channels are closed, let them be closed. But in case you still have access to some people whom you have treated with contempt, I'm telling you, watch this video, do some self-introspection, and go back and apologize to that person. Seriously, do that. Apologize for treating them badly. You would be saved from the depression, sleepless nights, and the lack of immunity that you're going to have because of having this emotion of contempt. Now, the fourth one is the most promising thing to happen, but you'll have to really give in to it. This idea has to be totally taken seriously, and you have to work towards this idea. This is practice having a warm heart. You know how? Well, you have to totally forgive a person. You have to start asking good things for that person. What happens usually is we try to move on from a person by hating a person. This never works. You have to forgive a person to move on from that person. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're cutting that person off the surroundings, but the hatred that you have for that person still exists in you. And this causes you to target that hatred towards wrong people. How does that work is because you have an emotion, you've cut the person out of his surroundings. You cannot put any hate on that person, so you'll put this hate somewhere else. No emotions are going to stay here. They all are going to come out, or if they stay inside, they're going to make you depressed. So always have a warm heart. Whosoever does bad to you, one last time, fold your hands, say to God, keep them happy and healthy. Let them have a healthy and a long life. I forgive them for whatever they did to me. And trust me, you're not doing this for them. You're doing this for yourself. The only people who can move on are the people who forgive. There is a lot that I can talk about for getting away from toxic people, treating people and, cutting people off from your life. But that I think we should take in some other video. For today, we have learned what contempt is. How does it affect us? We know how does it affect our work life and our personal life and our relationships. Now we learned there are 4 solutions to contempt. The star rule, the way to defend people behind their back. Third was go back, apologize, self-introspect. And the 4th way was increase the size of your heart. Don't put your hand inside and increase the size. Just practice warm-heartedness. And I am sure that once you understand this emotion and get rid of this, your life will change for the good. That's it for today's video. That's it what I can talk about contempt with you in this little amount of time. And please stay tuned to the channel. Leave the feedback in the comments. Leave anything you want to confess in the comments as well. You can hit the like button if you like the video, hit the dislike button if you dislike the video, and make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Really motivating me. We are moving fast, we're moving in the pace that we need to move on. I'm really thankful to all my viewers, all my subscribers, everybody who's doing anything for the channel in any way. This isn't my channel, this is your channel. Stay tuned to it. See you in the next video.